Hi, I'm Dorothy Cariker. I'm almost 84 years old. I live on a little ranch in Oklahoma, a mini ranch where I raise miniature horses. And in World War II, I had 4 brothers that were in all the theaters of combat, and I really ached to share in their adventure, and so I enlisted in the Air Force and ended up in India, in the China-Burma India Theater for Air Transport Command. And they assigned me to replace 2 sergeants that had been running this personnel pool of young Indian men. They were Muslim and Hindu primarily, and the Muslim religion didn't allow the men to shake hands with a woman, much less be required to call her Memsab. The Air Force insisted they call me Memsab, which is the effeminate of master. And they were surly at first, but they got to be my friends before the war ended. And on the way over, we had plane trouble out from Casablanca and had barely made it back into land on this old cargo plane, and my squadron were sleeping in sleeping bags in the back, and the pilot asked me if I would come up and sit in for his co-pilot and let the co-pilot nap a little on the way from Casablanca to Karachi, India. And while I was up there, I told him that I had gone to a school for mountain children and was very interested in biblical history. And so he said, I'm going to take you down. I can go treetop level in this old cargo plane, and I'm going to take you down and show you the Holy Land. And he did. He just rode lazy circles at treetop level, and he showed me Bethlehem and Jerusalem. And this was before Israel came back to that land. And it was very much like biblical times, and he showed me where they thought the ruins of the old walls of Jericho fell, and the Jordan River and the Dead Sea and all of that. And then we took out across the Sahara Desert, and this was shortly after the battle between the Nazi General Rommel and British General Montgomery, and there were still all the remnants of burned out tanks, and it looked like uniforms laying around them and swarms of buzzards. And these were big turkey buzzards that sometimes hit our planes and turned into a missile because of the speed and could wreck a plane. But this was such an exciting time for me, and an experience I've always treasured and used in several of my writings. I was very concerned about how the war was going, but also I wanted to share the adventure of my brothers. I'd always hunted and fished with them and did everything they did, and after I got so disappointed in the first fellow that I was interested in, this seemed the solution for me was to go share that adventure, and I've always been so glad that I almost scared myself to death being a little hillbilly from the Ozarks at some of the adventures I had, but it was wonderful, and I wouldn't take anything for the memories.
Where did you get your training?
I got my training, well, first of all, Chattanooga in Tennessee, and then I was stationed in Dallas at Love Field, and I marched on the runways that are part of the airport there now. And then I very much wanted to go overseas to be near where my big brother was. Norman, my oldest brother, he was flying the Himalayas into China, trying to keep China in the war. The Japanese were trying to starve them out, and so I went down and got myself put on orders in place of one of the men that was being sent to hit this area in India. Karachi was the doorway into India where they brought all the troops in and out, and I hoped to be able to get to see him, but I found out after I got there that he was on his way home. And but it was like destiny sent me there, because I met Ken the day I got there, and we shared a tremendous romance over there. And then 25 years and 3 kids later, when we lost him, you know.
Sailing, is that the Indian Ocean?
Yes, this is a picture of Ken and I on a sailboat with our Indian captain out on the Indian Ocean. We would go out there and fish all day and dive off the boat and swim, and we had tremendous memories of our time over there.
When did you come home? What year?
I was discharged in 1946, and Ken had to wait for a ship. They flew the women out because they were beginning to have trouble with the having fights between some of the troops. We had thousands of troops there at Karachi. We had British troops and Australian troops and Chinese and Indian, and thousands of them, and they would have Red Cross dances, and they started having some trouble with the troops fighting, because there were only about 50 white women in the whole country, and it was quite an experience being one of those. They would run up and hand me notes when I was with Ken, and I still have some of those notes in with all of my things that I thought I might use someday for my memoirs. That is, if I ever get old.